Then Jesus went with them to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to his disciples, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." He took with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, and began to be grieved and agitated. Then he said to them, "My soul is deeply grieved, even to death. Remain here and stay awake with me." And going a little farther, he threw himself on the ground and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Not yet what I want, but what you want." Then he came to the disciples and found them sleeping. And he said to Peter, "So could you not stay awake with me 1 hour? Stay awake and pray that you may not come into the time of trial. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." Again he went away for a second time and prayed, "My Father, if this cannot pass unless I drink it, your will be done." Again he came and found them sleeping, for their eyes were heavy. So leaving them again, he went away and prayed for the third time, saying the same words. Then he came to the disciples and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and taking your rest? Now the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners."
While he was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, arrived. With him was a large crowd with swords and clubs, sent from the chief priest and the elders of the people. Now the betrayer had given them a sign, saying, "The one I will kiss is the man. Arrest him." At once he came up to Jesus and said, "Greetings, Rabbi," and kissed him. Jesus said to him, "Friend, do what you are here to do." Then they came and laid hands on Jesus and arrested him. Suddenly, one of those with Jesus put his hand on his sword, drew it, and struck the slave of the high priest, cutting off his ear. Then Jesus said to him, "Put your sword back in its place, for all who take the sword will die by the sword. Do you think that I cannot appeal to my Father, and he will at once send me more than 12 legions of angels? But how then would the scriptures be fulfilled, which say it must happen in this way?" At that hour, Jesus said to the crowds, "Have you come out with swords and clubs to arrest me as though I were a rebel? Day after day I sat in the temple teaching, and you did not arrest me. But all this has taken place so that the scriptures of the prophets may be fulfilled." Then all the disciples deserted him and fled.
Those who had arrested Jesus took him to Caiaphas the high priest, where the scribes and the elders had gathered. But Peter was following him at a distance as far as the courtyard of the high priest. And going inside, he sat with the guards in order to see how this would end. Now the chief priests and the whole council were looking for false testimony against Jesus so that they might put him to death. But they found none, though many false witnesses came forward. At last, two came forward and said, This fellow said, I am able to destroy the temple of God and to build it in 3 days. The high priest stood up and said, Have you no answer? What is it that they testify against you? But Jesus was silent. Then the high priest said to him, I put you under oath before the living God. Tell us if you are the Messiah, the Son of God. Jesus said to him, You have said so, but I tell you, from now on you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power and coming on the clouds of heaven. Then the high priest tore his clothes and said, He has blasphemed. Why do we still need witnesses? You have now heard his blasphemy. What do you think? They answered, He deserves death. Then they spat in his face and struck him, and some slapped him, saying, Prophesy to us, you Messiah. Who is it that struck you? Now Peter was sitting outside in the courtyard. A female servant came to him and said, You also were with Jesus the Galilean. But he denied it before all of them, saying, I do not know what you are talking about. When he went out to the porch, another female servant saw him, and she said to the bystanders, This man was with Jesus the Nazarene. Again he denied it with an oath, I do not know the man. After a little while, the bystanders came up and said to Peter, Certainly you are also one of them, for your accent betrays you. Then he began to curse, and he swore an oath, I do not know the man. At that moment the cock crowed. Then Peter remembered what Jesus had said, Before the cock crows, you will deny me 3 times. And he went out and wept bitterly.
Pilate spoke to them again. Then what do you wish me to do with the man you call the King of the Jews? They shouted back, Crucify him! Pilate asked them, Why? What evil has he done? But they shouted all the more, Crucify him! So Pilate, wishing to satisfy the crowd, released Barabbas for them, and after flogging Jesus, he handed him over to be crucified. Then the soldiers led him into the courtyard of the palace, that is, the governor's headquarters, and they called together the whole cohort, and they clothed him in a purple cloak, and after twisting some thorns into a crown, they put it on him. And they began saluting him, Hail, King of the Jews! They struck his head with a reed, spat upon him, and knelt down in homage to him. After mocking him, they stripped him of the purple cloak and put his own clothes on him. Then they led him out to crucify him. Those who passed by derided him, shaking their heads and saying, Aha! You who would destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself and come down from the cross. In the same way, the chief priests, along with the scribes, were also mocking him among themselves and saying, He saved others. He cannot save himself. Let the Messiah, the King of Israel, come down from the cross now, so that we may see and believe. Those who were crucified with him also taunted him.
In the beginning, The Creator was absolutely enchanted with his creation. All that was made was good, and the Creator poured out love on his creation in every detail. A love so pure, so unadulterated, so completely free from restraints and conditions. In fact, we as humans, in an effort to understand and grasp such love, set aside a word for it that separated it from all other kinds of love. Not a phileo or brotherly love, or even an eros-type love, but an agape love. An agape love reserved for a divine love. This love was the perfection of Eden. We read in Genesis, as part of our origin story, that the Spirit of the divine hovered over the earth and that the Creator walked among the perfection of Eden in the coolness of the evening. Can you imagine? This was the plan all along, but humans, being a little lower than the angels, as the psalmist writes, and wrapped in the frailty of flesh and arrogance of free will, opted for another plan. Whether wittingly or unwittingly, we like sheep went astray and chose our own way. We broke relationship with something so pure and right and never again gazed upon the face of the divine. So for thousands of years we wandered. Oh, we saw glimpses of the divine in a burning bush or a pillar of fire or a cloud of smoke. We now heard from the divine through earthly spokesmen and prophets. We separated ourselves into tribes and factions that argued and warred with one another, killing, destroying, enslaving, conquering, rebuilding, only to conquer and destroy again, all over and over again. We devised systems of government and hierarchy and earthly kings and kingdoms and rulers. We set up systems of sacrifice and religious rituals and rites to atone for our depravity. We set up a world that no longer resembled anything like the perfection of Eden. And yet, amidst the chaos and the brutality of the ancient world, agape love still remained. The echoes of Eden still lingered in the heart of the divine, and a desire for an unobstructed relationship with his creation. And so, in the course of human history, the Creator intervened and once again walked among his creation. An intervention driven by a love so pure and relentless, willing to stop at nothing to ensure reconciliation for anyone willing to accept it. A divine love once again entered our world, born into the humblest of circumstances from a nothing special town of Nazareth. And yet, this divine appearance was cataclysmic and split time and history in half. What would drive perfection to humble itself, to offer itself as a willing sacrifice of propitiation? It's simple. Love. God so loved the world that he gave a part of himself to us, an offering of unabashed and unrestrained love, a sacrifice of passion driven by those echoes of Eden, that whosoever, and let's just stop right there on that word, whosoever, what a word. In my opinion, arguably one of the most underrated and understated words of the New Testament. Whosoever, expansive, grace-filled, inclusive, hopeful. Over the last 2,000 years of Christianity, as learned men and biblical scholars have debated and fought and struggled to work out religious faith and theology and what it means to be a Christian, they've often tried to remove the power of the word whosoever. We as humans love our neat little boxes, our lists of do's and don'ts, our determinations for who's in and who's out, who's part of the club and who isn't. And yet this one little word cuts through all the religious noise and dogma and says, you, yes, you. Whosoever believes in this divine intervention unlocks the key to Eden. Whosoever trusts and believes. And yet, we know how the story goes. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. Humanity rejected this divine intervention. The purest of love met with scorn, hate, and anger, and disgust. A seething hatred spilled over into ultimate cries for death. Tonight, we gather to remember that moment. That moment where the purest of love, grace, compassion, beaten, scourged, spit at, willingly laid down and was hoisted up onto two beams of wood, arms outstretched, nails driven through his hands and feet, lifted high up into the air for all to see, to mock, to ridicule, to grieve. And there the divine expression of agape love died on a wooden cross made from human hands. That cross, which in its day was a symbol of humiliation, pain, and torture, reserved for the worst of the worst, a sign from a brutal empire to let people know far and wide who was the power center and who was in control. A reminder of dominance to anyone who might think otherwise. Over the centuries, Christians have adopted and adapted the symbol of the cross as their own. We've taken what once was a symbol of scorn and shame and used it as a sign of victory and hope, of victory over death, and a remembrance of a perfect life lived, died, and resurrected, and a hope for what is to come beyond this expression of life. But even human well-intentions can't overcome greed, anger, and a thirst for power. Over the course of the last 2,000 years of human history, we've seen the cross of Christ cheapened, misused, co-opted. Some of the greatest atrocities of the last 2 millennia have been carried out and perpetuated in the name of the cross and in the name of Christ, with the symbol of the cross lifted high. We see it in our own days and times. The cross of Calvary, prominently and proudly displayed, coupled with vapid religious rhetoric in order to justify actions and behaviors that no more represent Christ or resemble the life of the divine intervention in Nazareth 2,000 years ago. The cross of Christ is not a battle cry, a standard to be raised of a conquering group of battle-tested warriors to proclaim dominance over any group of people. No, the cross of Calvary is the great equalizer. A humble reminder that in the shadow of the cross, we all come as beggars and paupers, unworthy of the immense price paid for our ransom. We gather here tonight in this shadow of this cross, equal, stripped away of our pretense and veiled misnomers that any of us have all the answers. Here in this sanctuary, at the foot of this cross, there is no Jew or Gentile, rich or poor, black or white, male or female, gay or straight, Republican or Democrat, citizen or alien, member or non-member. All descriptors lose their power. We as Christ followers live in the shadow of the cross and allow those echoes of Eden to permeate every area of our lives. We continue to love God and love our neighbors. We continue to feed the poor and clothe the naked. We continue to be sanctuary for those seeking solace and refuge from a cruel and indignant world. And we do so all with the life-sustaining hope of resurrection and that day where we once again gaze upon the face of the divine. Amen.
From noon on, darkness came over the whole land until 3 p.m. And about 3 o'clock, Jesus cried with a loud voice, Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani. That is, my God, why have you forsaken me? When some of the bystanders heard it, they said, this man is calling for Elijah. At once, one of them ran and got a sponge, filled it with sour wine, put it on a stick, and gave it to him to drink. But the other said, wait, let us see whether Elijah will come to save him. Then Jesus cried out again with a loud voice and breathed his last. At that moment, the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. The earth shook, and the rocks were split. The tombs also were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. After his resurrection, they came out of the tombs and entered the holy city and appeared to many. Now when the centurion and those with him who were keeping watch over Jesus saw the earthquake and what took place, they were terrified and said, "Truly, this man was God's Son."
As the lights go out and candles dim, we grieve a darkened world. Kneeling down before you, sometimes praying without words, longing for redemption's plan to finally be unfurled. We sit in silence, wait in hope until you save the world. Until you save the world. As the lights go out and candles dim, we recognize our part. The chilly darkness in the world comes from our darkened hearts. We long for light and heaven's warmth, for music to be heard. But we sit in silence, wait in hope until you save the world. Stay with me. We hear you ask. Stay with me till this is past. Stay with me. My hour is coming fast. Lord, we'll stay with you while shadows chill until you save the Lord, we'll stay with you while shadows chill until you save the world. As lights go out and candles dim, with tears our vision blurred, we sit in silence, wait and hope until